Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us nice and early. I'm conscious that we've got people who are expecting to join us for today's LinkedIn Live, so going to give them a minute or so to join the session before we get started. Today, we're going to be looking at AI in travel and giving you some real live use cases. So thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to join us and find out more, hopefully learn something about AI. You will have the opportunity to ask questions as we go through, so please feel free to pop those in the comments box on LinkedIn and we'll be able to respond to you and hopefully get a bit of a conversation going there. I can see people are joining now, which is excellent, so I'm just going to give them another moment or two before we get started. It would be great to know where you're from, either where in the world or which companies you're working for. So do feel free to put a little comment there on LinkedIn and tell us where you're from, what you're up to, maybe even what you're hoping to get out of this session and learn. That would be great. And then we will get started very, very soon. Welcome everyone to our first LinkedIn Live, which is called Beyond the Hype, Meaningful Use of AI in Travel. Now, AI, artificial intelligence, is really in the news at the moment and lots of buzzwords related to it in and around travel. What we wanted to do with this session is to bring it to life, put it in the context of the travel and tourism industry, and hopefully give you some real life case studies to take away and think about and hopefully even implement in your business. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Danny Wayne. I'm founder of a business called Travel Nomads, and we're working with a number of innovative companies in and around travel and inspiring entrepreneurs. Today we will be featuring SystemsX as we go through the slides and give you a bit of a live demo later. I've worked in and around the travel industry for the best part of the last 20 years, also with a focus on education, career and personal development. So all of this is interesting to me, but also an area of some of my expertise. First of all, we're going to think about artificial intelligence itself, AI. Now, what is it? Just to give us all a bit of a grounding and context to it. It's the ability of computer systems to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence, such as things like learning, reasoning, problem solving, and decision making. Now, AI has created so many opportunities for travel, and they will continue to do so. The technology is developing so fast. It's really exciting with where we can go with AI, and what we want to do today, as I say, is to bring to life some of those use cases for you to be able to implement. We will be talking a little bit about agentic AI, which may be a concept or a phrase that you might not be as familiar with. Now, think about agentic AI as an outcome-based teammate that you're working alongside. It's AI that can plan, reason, take action to achieve goals, not just responding to tasks. The main difference is that agentic AI is goal-orientated. So rather than being just task-based, it's actively seeking results, similar to someone who's a competent intern, but they will need to have clear and contextual instructions to be able to take that forward. What I've seen around AI in travel recently is there is a lot of talk about the theory, about concepts. It feels quite abstract, but it's not that tangible right now. So what we want to do through the examples we're going to show you during this session is to really bring that to life, make it a bit more tangible for you, and hopefully you can then see how that could work within your business. And we'll do that by bringing some real life case studies and examples forward. I'd like now to introduce SystemsX, which is a fairly new business that's working with travel and tourism companies to support them to grow their business and to develop efficiency within the company. It's for AI, And the AI technology that SystemsX are building is all about empowering agents, not replacing them. When we use the word agent throughout the session, whether it's through the presentation or the live demos, I would think about the word agent in the wider sense. Could be someone that's person working within customer service, or the parts of this that we finished. Thank you very much for those comments and questions that you've started to add. That's excellent. We'll keep an eye out for those as we go through the session. SystemsX, as I mentioned, is all about empowering businesses with innovative AI technology solutions, and they're supporting travel companies with their growth and also efficiencies. The products that SystemsX have developed are AI agnostic, which is key if you think about changing your phone provider in the future, maybe switching systems. It means that the products can be agile and develop and be flexible as your business goes forward. All of the products that SystemsX are developing are focused on agentic AI, so that goal-orientated, trying to find solutions that are beneficial for you and your people. They're using cutting-edge AI technology and automating processes, and we'll give you some examples of that. Hopefully, these products will be there to support and empower your people, your business, and as I mentioned earlier, your agents to try and make life as fulfilling as possible. We all want to enjoy the work that we do, especially working in and around the travel industry, and that's what this is all about. To introduce the SystemsX products and to help you to start bringing these to life in your own mind, I just wanted to introduce them and give you a bit of a summary as to what they do. So the Knowledge product is all about being your business brain within your organization, and I'll give you a live example shortly of how you can narrow down, recommend, and ask. Sense is in two parts. We have Sense QA, which is very much focused on that quality assurance within your business. It may be metrics, compliance, gives you tons of insights. And then Assist, which is about automating certain things that you do within your organization to help your people become more efficient. Content is about creating unique, personalized, and rich content en masse. And then Bridge is about connecting those unconnected systems. And we'll go into a bit of this in more detail shortly. So now you've got a bit of an understanding as to AI, agentic AI, and a bit of context in the travel and tourism industry. What I want to do next is to start bringing this to life, give you some real examples that you can take away and start to implement within your business. So the first one of those four products that I was talking about is Knowledge. And this is really what we call your business brain. So this is using a private large language model and taking lots of information, pulling it together, consolidating it, and giving you some great outcomes. It's all request and response based, and all of the information is stored there. So it keeps it specific to your business. It's got the context of the travel industry, and the live examples that I'm going to give you will certainly bring that to life. Now, before I dive into the live demo of Knowledge, I wanted to give you the purpose of it and explain why. So Knowledge is all about empowering agents. And as I mentioned, these may be salespeople, they may be customer service people, people working within your travel business. So what Knowledge does is it helps new agents to act like seasoned experts. So it helps to upskill them more quickly, help them to develop their knowledge within your business. All of the tools that we've developed are trained on your business knowledge, and they've got travel industry awareness. So they're going to be taking into consideration things like feedback from the FCDO as an example. It's a secure private AI environment and GDPR compliant. So your information is protected there for your business. It helps travel companies to retain knowledge and share that critical knowledge across the teams. So you might have people who've been with you a really long time. They're extremely specialist and knowledgeable in what they do. If they're on holiday, you may find your business comes to a standstill because you don't have others within the team that are able to take on those destinations, or at least with the same level of confidence. So knowledge can help to bridge that gap. And it also reduces reliance on individual experience. So as we all get older, you have people that are looking to the future, maybe moving on, maybe retiring. You could lose that information from your business. So you want to try and retain as much of that excellent, rich knowledge as you can. And with that, let's get straight into the first live demo. So I wanted to show you the knowledge product first of all. On the right-hand side of your screen is the SystemsX Knowledge module, the sense, the technology that we've developed through the AI. And this is sitting within the InspireTech CRM as an example. So on the left-hand side, you've got all the details about the customer, what you would expect to see inside a CRM. In the middle, you've got the jotter there, which is where the live working area is. And then on the right-hand side of the screen, that's the SystemsX AI technology that I'm going to show you in just a second. So if you imagine I'm a call handler, you're a customer, we're on the telephone together, and you're telling me all about your dream holiday, that you'd like to travel long haul, 2 adults and 2 children. You've explained to me the different experiences you're hoping to have while you're away, and that you'd like to fly from London Gatwick or London Heathrow. As you can see, the AI technology is able to differentiate between airport codes, or you could type in the whole airport name if you wanted to. As we look on the right-hand side, we then have the SystemsX AI products there. So the first tool that we have is narrow down. And if you click on narrow down, it will come back with 5 questions, key questions that I forgot to ask. Of course, I should be asking about the budget. I should be asking about the departure date that you're considering. And then further down, there are some helpful questions that will also help me to build a rapport, continue the conversation. And we could be having this conversation live while one of those tools is helping me to develop the conversation further. The second tool is recommend. When we click recommend, it will bring back 3 different options based on the information that we've entered there. So there are 3 options. The first will give you a nice small summary to talk about the destination itself. Then it gives you further information to enhance what you're talking about. And then further down, you have the option to like, dislike. You can copy that information, you can refresh it. And this is based on our sort of generic model at the moment. But if you're a tour operator, we could build this for you specifically focused on the destinations that you sell, the products that you sell, the tours, the hotels, and that would be specialist specifically to your business, helping to develop those people within your company, whether they are new to the business or whether they've been within the business for a long time. The third tool that we have is Ask, and this is where you could ask any travel related questions. So you may want to ask, what's the drive time between one airport and the resort? You ask, rather than going away and doing that externally on the internet, doing it within the area of SystemsX, everything is tracked. There's an audit history. So if the customer comes back and says, Danny said this and it was incorrect information, you would be able to find that out. Then we move on to the next part of the AI tools, and that's where it's summarizing the conversation. So this is the most recent conversation that I had with a customer. It's giving me a nice summary of the call there. We can then do things like activities and add tasks. So it's actually showing that the AI is transcribing, it's understanding what's going on within that conversation. We then ask the human agent to just verify before they add those to their tasks to follow up. And that might be because you've started the conversation, agreed to do something with the customer, but by the end of the call, you've agreed to actually do something differently. You can also send a follow-up email almost immediately, and generated by AI, as you can see, it populates. That will then show a good understanding of the conversation that we've had. And it's saying to the customer, I'm really interested. I've had a nice conversation with you, and this is what I've understood, what we should do next. And finally, what we can give to the agent is the score as well. So the score is telling them what they did really well, what they were good at, and where their development area is. So 3 points on each there that you can take forward. So that's the demo as to what knowledge and then part of Sense can do. Now you've seen how knowledge works, and it's always scary doing a live demo. You never quite know how it's going to go. So thank you very much for those comments and questions that you've just given. I wanted to explain actually how it works, an example, just to give you a bit of background. So as a cruise specialist, you may be pulling in different information from places like Widgety, Dreamlake, deals, all of the different cruise line deals that come through, all of these amazing offers. You'll have training, internal documentation, PDFs, PowerPoint presentations, and so on. We can then also scrape your website, and all of this information is grounded in that travel AI that I mentioned. And this is where the information then comes out the other end and gives you that great, powerful, super interesting, developed content that your salespeople can then use to try and close that sale. Moving on now to talk about SystemsX's flagship product, Sense. Sense is AI-powered evaluation, compliance, and performance platform. There's so much rich information that you get through your business, whether that's from telephone calls, live chats, emails, all the different touch points that you have throughout the customer interactions. And where we are today is taking the information through those telephone calls, soon emails, and then also those other channels in the future as well. We're taking that information, we're reporting on it, we're providing insights to businesses in almost real time. So now I'm going to go through, explain how that works, give you some real examples so you can put that into context in your travel business. Before we get into that live demo, which I know you're very excited to see, I wanted to give you a bit of background as to what Sense is, what it actually does. So Sense is all about enhancing agent performance through AI. What we found is that most travel companies, they will listen to some telephone calls within their business, maybe just a handful of them each month, often picking on the lowest performing agents within the business, listening to a handful of calls, and then sitting down and talking through how that agent could improve. What Sense is all about is actually taking the information, transcribing those telephone calls, giving rich insights and almost instant feedback to agents. So it's actually scoring 100% of those telephone calls that are coming into your business. It's AI powered, and the AI is also looking at sentiment and empathy. It's detecting the words, understanding what's going on within those conversations and giving that feedback to you. The scoring is custom, so it's tailored to your business. We do have score sheets that you could use initially, implement those within your business, or you may already have your own score sheets. And Sense is then giving actionable feedback, coaching insights to individuals, to team leads, to sales managers, and it even now creates performance reviews, which we'll show you later on. There are automated compliance monitoring tools within Sense. It creates call summaries and tasks, and it can even provide alerts. So you don't need to be on the platform the whole time. It will actually alert you to something that might be going on within your business that you really would want to know about instantly. To explain how Sense works and how it could actually work within your business, I'm just going to talk through this slide. So on the left-hand side there, you have your phone system, and we would just need to have an API that connects to your phone system. We're then able to transcribe the calls, and we remove things like the personally identifiable information, the PII. The transcript will also go through what we call a diarization process, which is where we're then distinguishing the conversations between the agent on one side and the customer on the other. That's then when we run the transcript through our Sense AI model, and we're doing all sorts of things there, like auto tagging the calls, reviewing the information, creating the scoring, and so on. And that then gives the outputs, which are on the right-hand side. Sense Assist, those knowledge outputs that are actually giving information to help your people to potentially sell. sound more knowledgeable. And then Sense QA, which is the dashboard, the management information, the suite of insights that we have for you to help support and develop your business. This can all be output with an API as well, and that will depend on how your business operates. We can have a conversation along those lines if it's of interest. Now I've explained how it works, let's dive in and do a live demo of Sense, and specifically the call history and the scoring. Let's start with the call history page. So imagine these are all the live calls that are coming into your business at the moment. So you've had them refresh. This is what's just come in. On the left-hand side would be what you'd expect to see from your phone system, which are things like the time of the call, maybe the duration of the call, the customer's details, and so on, whether that was an inbound or an outbound call. And then on the right-hand side of the screen, that's where the SystemsX AI kicks in. So we're tagging the calls, whether that's an inquiry, a follow-up, a booking. That's auto-tagging, not done by a human. Then you've got the score. So we're actually scoring each of those calls. That's done within about 20 seconds of the call finishing. And we're scoring 100% of those calls. And then the third part is compliance, which I'll touch on later on. But that's a great way of ensuring that your salespeople in particular and other people in the business are doing what you'd expect them to do. That could be mandatory or it could be legal compliance too. Then moving on to the call scoring themselves. This is an example that we're giving the agent some feedback immediately, what they're doing really well, and then some of their development areas. And it gives you really specific and detailed feedback as to what they can do to improve. This is business. It's broken down, the greetings, the rapport, maybe needing to improve a sense of urgency or developing their product knowledge. This is where we work with each of the individual businesses to actually tailor this to their specific culture and the way that they expect their staff and their teams to work when on the telephone. So that's an initial insight into the first part of the SystemsX Sense module. Now that you've seen the first live demo of Sense, and it's give you a bit of an insight into things like the call history, the scoring of the calls, and how we monitor things, you can probably look at Sense through the lens of the sales team and how that might be able to develop your salespeople, how it could support your sales managers, your team leads, your QA leads. But what we found working with travel companies in recent months is actually the Sense platform is helping right across the business. So yes, it does help to boost conversion within sales. Marketing, it's giving those sentiment insights. It's also giving things like the highlighting the keywords and so on. Operational efficiencies, and I'll go into a bit more detail in another one of the demos shortly on our research tool that can really help operationally. From an IT perspective, it's super easy, practically plug in and play and get on with it. As I said, you just need your API connection from your telephone provider. From a finance point of view, it's really worthwhile in terms of the cost of the Sense product, but also it can save money in different ways. And I'll give you a few examples of those shortly. Most importantly, it's about improving the customer service and that experience within your business. Everyone wants to offer excellent customer service. And in the different functions, well, supporting trainers and team leads, it's developing people, so it's enhancing your HR processes, hopefully helping you to retain more staff and information within the business as well. And from a management perspective, actually having all of those insights in real time, being able to have those alerts as well, helps the whole spectrum. Let's now dive into the whole suite of reporting tools and insights that we have. There's far too much to go into throughout this demo, but I'm going to give you a bit of an insight. So looking at the reporting that we have, you've got at the top there some of the information you'd expect to see from the phone system, how many people are on the phone, the number of calls they're taking. And then as we move further down, you get more rich information and reporting that's driven by the AI tools that SystemsX provide. So we've got the scoring, we've also got the auto tagging, we've got some really nice heat maps that can give you insights into things that you didn't even know We also have some live productivity on the day, how many calls, the length of calls, who's on the phone, what they're up to throughout their working day. We also have some other reporting tools. We can develop these dashboards. You can actually amend them based on what you'd like to see and yourself. So there's insights of reporting, things like categories, tags, there's highlights of words, lots of different types of information we can pull out, customer sentiment, as well as how the conversations are going. And then just on that conversation piece, I wanted to show you another really useful tool that we've developed, which is the research tool. And you can actually type into this box any word or phrase that you might be interested to find out, and it will work away in the background and it will review all of those calls, bring back the information there. This can be used in a number of ways, so checking promotions that you're working on. It could be marketing agreements that you've got with different destinations, so you can show that you're actually talking about those products and promoting those products. Or it could be operational. If you've got a complaint and you'd like to find out information that's coming up, you can actually dive straight in there. You can also use the filters as well. You could filter it by customer based on their telephone number, both inbound and outbound calls, or looking at individual people, such as salespeople like myself, or different areas and parts of the business. So much you can do in there, and you can really get lost in it. Now that you've had the live demo of some of the reporting and the research tool that we've had, hopefully that's giving you a bit more of an insight into how that could work from your business point of view, whether it's in your own personal role or whether it's in the wider team. As we've been working with travel companies and developing Sense in recent months, there are so many use cases that have come out, and I thought I'd share some of those with you here. So first of all, the awareness of PCI compliance and what travel businesses should be doing when they're taking card details from clients, when they're processing payments, and what they shouldn't be doing. So tightening up on that from a business point of view. Things like accurate spelling. So it might sound basic and simple, but ensuring that your clients have got the correct spellings, that it's Daniel, not Danny. Even though that usually only happens when I'm in trouble, but it is important because that's what is on my passport. Having the different call types being visible. So rather than finding out or just kind of walking through the office and asking, have we been busy today? What types of calls that we have? You've got some real hard data there that you've had so many inquiries, that you've had so many follow-up calls, that you've had these telephone calls coming in, making payments and so on. And then finally, that scoring at scale. So giving the feedback instantly to all of your people and helping them to develop their skills, to develop their knowledge, and to hopefully convert more and to improve your business performance. Thank you for those comments and questions that you've been adding there. Thank you very much, Gareth, for yours, and also to Dave too. If you do have any comments, questions, or the things that you'd like to find out as we're going through, don't be afraid to pop those in there. Just to give you a few other use cases that we've experienced within the travel industry. So through the research tool, being able to type resort fees into that box. So we've all been there where we've traveled overseas. You check in at the reception desk and they say, "Hi, Mr. Wayne, thank you for joining us today and being here. We now need to take X number of dollars off you for your resort fees." And you say, "Hang on, no one told me about the resort fees." You call your travel agent or tour operator to pick it up with them, maybe make a complaint. On the business side of things, they then have to sit and listen through, trawl through all these calls, go through emails and see if their salesperson mentioned those resort fees. With Sense, it's really quick to be able to pull that kind of information out. So it speeds up the time that your teams are spending, but also it's a much better customer experience. So you can go back to them quickly and deal with that situation. There are things like compliance that we have in there, as you saw, some promotions. If you're running the promotions, you can actually ensure that your salespeople are mentioning those key promotions, helping to boost conversion, making more money for your business, and hopefully for that salesperson too. It can change habits in a positive way. So you might have people that have been with your business for a long time, that they're stuck in their ways. You'd like them to just improve. They're already good, but you'd like them to be great. Compliance is a way that you can help them to develop that. And finally, those complaint escalation alerts that we talked about too. So if there is something happening within your business, you just want to keep an eye on it and ensure that the customer is happy at the end of that complaint. The alerts are a great way of doing that. The next demo that I wanted to share with you is the fantastic performance tool that we've developed. It's really hot off the press. It's taking all of that rich data and information and insights that we've seen throughout the platform already, consolidating that all together, and then you can look at this on an individual basis. So you can choose an individual within the business. You can have a look at how they're getting on a day, through the week, on a monthly basis, quarterly. This would be great to use within appraisals and when you're having one-to-ones with your teams. You go into that individual's performance then, and you're able to see all the calls, the scores that they've scored during those calls, both inbound, outbound, depending on the part of the business that they work in. And then as you go further down, you'll see their secret sauce, which is like the superpower of that individual, what they do really, really well when they're speaking to customers on the telephone. And then as you scroll further down, you get things like development areas where they could improve, what they're doing really well and what they're not doing so well. You can click straight through into the telephone calls to get some specific examples of these too. So it's just a great way of understanding what's going on within the business and to helping to develop your people. And this is where the AI is really bringing to life all of that rich information that we've got stored in there, and just helping your people to be better than they are today and developing them into the future. I know there was a lot to take in there with the live demo of the Sense product, but hopefully that's giving you loads of ideas and insights and things that you can take away. So now I just wanted to talk about the other two products that SystemsX has. One is the content module, which is all around creating unique, personalized, rich content en masse. So this is automating processes. This is generating content for you. It's within your brand tone of voice, and it's enhancing what you already have. Maybe you're developing a new website, you're introducing new destinations into an existing website, and it can take time to build all of that content. The content module can do that quickly for you. And of course, because it's text, it doesn't only have to be in English. So if you're operating in other parts of the world, it may even be in English, but in different types of English in places like the US, in Australia as well, or it could be in different languages. How does the content module work? Well, it's about providing that information into our AI, which is grounded in the travel industry. It's then going through the different profiles of those customers that you might have, the destinations, the criteria that you're actually looking for. And then the output could be web pages, ensuring that it's things like SEO friendly, having all those tags in there that you need to create that rich content then to go out onto your website. It can also be handed off in different ways too. And if you'd like to know more about this, please feel free to get in touch. Now you've seen how content actually works. This is a real example of a project that SystemsX has worked on. So the client brief was to create inspiring, informative, and engaging travel content. So what did the content need to be? It needed to inspire. It needed to be informative, but not overwhelming. Keep it practical, but light, positive, and accessible. Changing that quite boring text, field-driven information into something that's much more inspiring, that makes people want to be interested in what you've got to say, what you've got to sell, and hopefully to go on and book with you. The fourth and final product is Bridge, which is all about simplifying your data and connecting those unconnected systems. This is specifically for larger travel companies. It's absolutely brilliant for travel agencies in particular. The information is all safe and secure. It's ensuring accurate data transfer between systems, and it helps to avoid things like time missing and just make us inefficient. So I'm sure you want to know a little bit more about how that could work within your business if you're in that situation. How does Bridge work? It's using AI to automate and streamline data transfer. It does is it's taking those from the future. It will be enhanced by doing things like invoice decoding, also advanced passenger information. So going from one supplier to the other, and also working in the opposite direction as well, depending on what the information is, how the business is operating. And if you'd like to find out more on this particular product, it's well worth getting in touch and asking a few questions about how it might be able to support you. And that's it. Those are the 4 SystemsX AI products that are currently out there in the marketplace. I'd like to think that now that you've seen them live, that you've had that information to give you a bit of context to them, you could picture how that could work within your travel business. If you'd like to find out more about Knowledge, Sense, Content, or Bridge, please do get in touch. Thanks again for the questions and comments that you've already been adding onto the chat box there on LinkedIn. That's excellent. If you do have any further questions that you'd like to have answered, if it's sparked any ideas, if it's given you any inspiration, we'd love to know. So please do write those in there. Thank you for the questions that have already come through. I'm going to pick out a few of those that we've had, some of them that have been pre-submitted and others that have come through as we've been speaking. So people are wanting to know about things like pricing. I'd be happy to talk to you on a one-to-one basis about those. But the Sense product, as one example that someone's been asking about, is actually on a license basis, which is paid per monthly. And that will depend on the number of people that you have using the telephone, handling calls within your business. I've had a question about the research tool and whether that's able to handle all sorts of different queries. It is. You can put individual words in there. You can put extensive phrases into the research tool. You can even use the filters, as I mentioned, and go in there and look at it per customer to try and find that down to the kind of the detail, if you like. Another question I've had is about whether the products are continually being developed or if they're off the shelf, and as they are. The good news is they're continuing to be developed. The AI technology is developing so fast. And so as you can imagine, there are new innovations coming all the time. There are also feedback that we're getting from the travel businesses that we're working with. And so you are able to give feedback to the team, and they can consider if that's something that they could enhance the platform with. Just looking through some of the other questions. Someone here that's involved in other companies outside of travel. Yes, the technology is able to be used in different industries. So it is industry agnostic, although we're really specialist and focused on the travel industry. But in other contexts, if you're thinking about businesses that are using, for example, insurance companies, people that are actually taking information over the phone, processing information over the phone, answering questions, then yes, all of those different businesses are able to use the platform. Will we do another one of these sessions again? We may well do. If there's a particular topic you'd like to find out more information on, today was very much introductory, trying to give you a bit of a grounding in AI, but in a travel industry context, and using the SystemsX products to sort of bring those to life. So hopefully we've done that for you. But yes, if you do have any other topics that you would like to know more about, information that you'd like to find out, feel free to type those in there or send me a direct message afterwards, and we'll keep those in mind for future LinkedIn Lives. So I think those are all of the questions that I've got for the time being. We will be happy to respond to any of the questions on there. And if you're watching this back afterwards as well, of course, feel free to keep that conversation going. It doesn't need to end here today. Let's keep in touch and support you through your journey that I'm also on too. And finally, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. I hope you found something insightful, maybe a takeaway, something that you didn't know about already that you can implement within your business, that's maybe sparked an idea, or that you would just like to find out a little bit more information on, do a bit of research. Thanks for all of the interactions, the questions, the feedback as well. That's been excellent. We will look to do some more of these in the future. If you'd like to find out more information about SystemsX, feel free to get in touch with myself directly. Do share this link as well with others within the organization. So if it's not necessarily your direct responsibility, if you're working with people that are sales managers, head of sales, QA, leads, training and development people, business owners, it really touches all of the different parts of the business, this really exciting AI technology. And these are just some of the products that we've seen from SystemsX today, but there are many others out there that are utilizing things like voice technology, that are working in other parts of the businesses, maybe in finance, doing different things within a travel company. And there's a hell of a lot to take in. So hope that has been useful today. And please do get in touch if you've got any feedback or you'd like to find out more. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.